next session. So in today's session, we will be talking about theories of emotions and functions of emotions. So I hope so far the learning is being a good experience. I hope we are all together in the various examples which we have shared. I hope the concepts are also being getting cleared, and I hope that together we are traveling on this journey of new learning and we are grasping the core concept so that we will be ready for all type of questions which are going to come in exams. The core idea is to get your concepts clear, because if you have your concepts clear, then obviously you will not be worried that from where in the world the question is coming. But if you will try to ratify the answer as it is, then there can be problems. So try to have your concepts clear, because this is a kind of subject in which, unlike mathematics, you need not to learn the formulas, you just need to learn the concepts. If you have the concepts clear, then you can present your idea, then you can present your thought, then you can present the concept in multiple ways. The question is actually the way the question is phrased, accordingly you actually can answer that concept. So now, this theory of emotion is a big topic, you see. In this topic, normally you can actually view in various institutions, in various universities, there is a complete thesis-based assignment given for this big topic. Theories of emotion is a very big topic. It includes a lot. It includes a lot of research. So I would invite you all to do explore this topic as your homework. When I say homework, I don't mean that you would need to submit something because I'm saying this, calling it a homework. I'm just calling it a homework so that you do, I mean, complete your research part to in order to have the complete and uh, complete level understanding, both micro level and macro level understanding of this topic of theories of emotion, because you will study a lot in this on this topic in books and on internet. And with this concept clear, you will have the conceptual understanding that how the emotions theories are defined by different scientists, by different researchers at different times. So let's try to touch upon this topic, and we will try to understand exactly the idea behind this topic of theories of emotions. And then you can also do your study part, your research part at your end accordingly. So the theories of emotion, as we earlier studied, that emotions are basically various feelings of a human body, various feelings of a human, in fact, which trigger you to do certain things, which trigger you to do certain acts. As you also studied in the motivation part of our course, that there are primary motivation, there is general motivation, and there is uh, the secondary motivation, secondary motives. So these various motives we studied, that I mean, the emotions, various emotions in a human body, in human brain, are the reason why we do certain acts which we do. So theories of emotions which we will study today. um, the topic, if we try to summarize or give it an umbrella shape to this topic, then broadly speaking, there are three main categories. The three main categories of this topic of theories of emotions. The major theories of emotion can be grouped into three main categories: physiological, neurological, and cognitive. These are the three broader categories in which this topic can be actually distributed or can be divided. So, the physiological theories part says that, suggests that, suggests that responses within the body are responsible for emotions. The physiological part suggests that there are various physiological reasons why we act the way we act. Many times when we get hurt, then there is a type of emotion which we get. A best example can be that when somebody gets punched by somebody, so there is an immediate action, there is an immediate response. Sometime people will get scared, people will get scared, and people will run away. And certain people will get surprised, they will get shocked, they will start thinking that why the hell this happened, what happened. But there are certain people who would be reactive in their approach. They would immediately respond with a counterpunch. So this way we have just, I mean, right now, right in this moment, we have studied the three types of responses. First response was that the moment the punch was received by that person, the person went in panic and he ran off. In the second situation, the person who in fact had the punch, he did not run away, but rather he kept standing and he was in the state of shock and in the state of curiosity. That why did he, have this punch? Because he will try to ascertain the reasons why this happened. When because there is nothing wrong with that person might have would have done. So he would be just trying to bring a rationale behind that getting hit. So in the third part, the person was reactive. So he, despite, he will or she will not think for the logical reasons why the punch was taken by that individual. He or she will rather react instantly, and a punch is going to be communicated with a counter punch. So this is a best example of physical reasons of you being responding with a different type of emotion, and that emotion is triggering a different type of, different type of uh, way you responded, you behaved. So likewise, there's certain time, there's certain moment when you are trying to do certain research work, you are trying to do certain work in which there is some logic to be given to the topic, but there is extreme headache which you feel. So because of that headache, you might not be able to concentrate. You will be feeling distracted because of that very stringent pain. You will not be able to focus on that situation. So on that particular point, you want to have your focus on. So that physical state will create a feeling of unrest, emotions of unrest. You will be chaotic. You will feel very, very bad. You will feel very, I mean, irritated, and because you are not being able to focus in a certain situation where you need to focus. So this is another physiological reason why you are responding in a state, in a situation where you should have, responded in a different manner. Another physiological state can be that when you are so happy, and for example, there was an enemy and you were having a great rivalry going on with the enemy, and all of a sudden what you feel that you see, all of a sudden the enemy comes to you and you get to have a hug from that enemy, that a friendly hug. So then there that certain state will instantly drive certain type of emotions. So this is another example of physiological reasons why the emotions get triggered. So, as a physiological theories, broadly speaking, physiological theories suggest that responses within the body are responsible for emotions. I mean, the way things take place, the way things are taking place in physiological manner, those physiological uh, reasons are becoming the reasons of various emotions to get triggered, and accordingly the behaviors of that human will take place. So likewise, another reason of being behave I mean being acting in a certain situation could be neurological. So neurological, the second broader leg of these theories is neurological theories. Neurological theories propose that activity within the brain leads to emotional responses. The physical state basically said that all the actions, all the emotions are attributed to the physical reasons why things take place. I mean, physiological theories said that the emotions are attributed to the physical state of body. Because of that, the emotions get triggered. The neurological theories propose that activity within the brain leads to emotional responses. That whatever thing is taking place within the brain, that is the reason why, I mean, a person would behave the way the person would behave. For example, you were sleeping and you saw a dream. And in that dream you were so happy. In that dream you were so happy, you feel you I mean you saw yourself achieving some big goals, achieving some big things. You saw an impossible thing taking place, you saw an impossible thing actually getting happen, and the thing that you always wanted to happen, that thing actually got happened. And a lot of things which were unexpected you get to see in that dream. So when you wake up you will be very surprised that in that happy state of mind you were in the dream. Accordingly you will be happy in your wake up state, because the thing which took place inside your mind, that neurological mind, that became the reason why your emotions got triggered and you became very happy. Likewise, there are certain situations in which you would be very, very scared in the dream. You might be running away from the enemies who might be after you, who might be after your life. You might find yourself in the battlefield where people are sitting on the horses, having the arrows and swords and knives in their hand, and they're trying to attack you and destroy you. You are scared. You are scared to death, and you are just trying to save yourself. You're just trying to find out from where to run away, as there are all horses all around, you see, and people are from everywhere, enemies from everywhere are trying to grab you, attack you, and you will be very, very scared in that state. That is one state of dream you might could see. Or another state of dream could be that you have jumped off from a very tall building, very high building. Now you are jumping. Now you have already jumped and you can see yourself falling down. You're coming, getting, moving towards us. And, that mid state of mind where when you have jumped off from that very high building and you are now scared to death. And all of a sudden, while still being scared, you wake up. So now you will see your heartbeat actually raised up inside your emotion, inside your mind. When you were watching the dream you were scared and your heartbeat was racing, and accordingly when you wake up you'll notice yourself, your physical heartbeat was actually raised up, you see. So this is another reason why, this is another way, the emotions are going to take place. Another reason why you would behave in a certain manner is because of your thoughts only. You see, many times you will have a perception. You will have a perception about anything, that a certain person, or you might have this perception that you see a person if is looked in a certain attire, then this can be a very dangerous situation. So when a person in your imagination, the kind of appearance the person was having, and that appearance, if a person is going to come, then you need to get in emergency state. So now this is perception which you have in your mind, and if you actually get to see such persons, then you will be actually scared, you see, because this was perception in your mind, maybe from your early childhood. You have been watching movies, and in those movies, you have seen a person in a certain attire, maybe wearing a long coat, having a cowboy cap, and that cap little tilted downward, maybe having a cigar in the mouth, with a long beard, having black goggles on, all this appearance, having black gloves on, wearing long shoes, all this appearance. Maybe you have this appearance registered in your mind as an appearance of somebody who is very, very scary and who can actually strike you, who can actually beat you, who can, bring you trouble. So the moment you're going to see such stuff, the moment you're going to see anybody in such attire, you will be worried. So you will notice that, I mean, in reality, there's nothing like such, but the perception you had in your mind because of a person, and that perception triggered certain emotions. Likewise, you also must have noticed that many times when we get to see people smiling and people would approach us with a smile, then there is always an immediate reaction that the smile is going to be responded with a smile. So this is another reason why we would tend to behave in a certain manner, the way we will behave. So smile is also a reason why there can be, that perception in your mind, that perception inside your mind, that the person with a smiling face is always going to be friendly, so your mood and everything gets friendly accordingly. So the neurological theories propose that activity within the brain leads to emotional responses. That whatever is inside the brain, that inside brain thing is the reason why there are certain emotional responses which are going to take place. So this is the second broader leg of the theories which we have just discussed. So the third big leg of these theories of emotions is actually cognitive theories. Cognitive theory, if you could remember from the past, that you see we have studied about logical reasoning and always have finding a rationale behind certain acts, always trying to find certain reasons behind certain acts. So cognitive, if you just recall that, finding logics, finding rationale, and this word cognitive, you will find a connection between these two states: cognitive behavior and finding logics, finding rationale, the logical reasoning, always a proper right reason for anything, any behavior. So you will are going to find some cognitive, the connection, a cognitive connection between these two, two types of words. So cognitive theories argue that thoughts, another mental activity, play an essential role in forming emotions. So whatever you have inside your mind, whatever thoughts inside your mind you have, because of that you will be responding, and your emotions are going to be triggered up in a certain situation. You are going to find some logical reasons why anything happened, and because of that logical reason, your emotions are going to get triggered. You will try to find out the possible reason why anything happened. For example, you were walking by, you were actually walking from a street, and you suddenly get to hear a blast. So you might be would be thinking that there can be a truck tire burst. So you might also think that, you see, that somebody would must be playing with only some, these small toys, and because of that small toy bomb, that there was this big huge loud screamy sound which strike in the air. So this can be another reaction. But then immediately after listening to that huge blast sound, what you see is that I mean, suddenly you find out some blood on the body, on your shirt which you're wearing. Then you look around and you find that there are people on the ground, and there are people on the ground are actually hurt, they're injured. And then you get to notice chaos all around. Then now your cognitive mind is going to tell you that this was not a child act which has just taken place. This was actual blast which has caused some serious damage, which has caused catastrophe all around. So now you will be worried. Now you have this cognitive reason why to get worried, you to enter into that state of emergency. Now you will act accordingly. So cognitive theories are argue that thoughts and other mental activity play essential role in informing the emotions. As we had discussed earlier, that this is a big topic, and this topic invites a lot of study, a lot of research. So I'll again reiterate that you need to study and explore this topic from the books as well. So we're just trying to summing up the big topic on this slide, and maybe portion of it on the next slide. But you need to study this topic. I'm just giving you the concepts of this topic, so that your concepts, if are clear, then you will be able to attempt the topic in the exams. So now, on the broader note, there were like three legs of these theories of emotions. First was physiological theories, second was neurological theories, and third one is cognitive theories. These are like three broader legs on which the theories of emotions are basically based upon. You would also notice that, I mean, the three things which we have talked about are the reasons, are the core reasons why the emotions get triggered: physiological reasons, neurological reasons, and cognitive reasons. You see, physiological reasons, when you get hurt or when you get anything which takes place on your body. anything which takes place to your body, if because of that certain emotions are triggered, so those comes into in the umbrella of physiological theories. If any action takes place due to your brain condition, anxiety, or being overly happy, overly excited, whatever neurological state you have, there are people with schizophrenia, which is a psychological disease, in which you would imagine as if certain thing has taken place or certain or something in fact has happened, but you would notice that there is nothing which has taken place or nothing has happened. So that state is something which is inside your mind only, and because of that disturbed state of mind, there, I mean, you will be any person would be reacting or responding in a certain manner. So in neural, I mean, so that is a core reason why there is a behavior getting triggered. And the third reason why the emotions are triggered is the cognitive theories. In cognitive theories, there is a reason. The finding of reason takes place inside the mind, finding out reasons, finding out logic, finding out rationale, and then reaching out to the conclusion that why exactly, if anything has happened, then that could have happened. You should just try to find out that thing out. So cognitive theories argue that thoughts and other mental activity play an essential role in forming emotions. Okay, now I'm going to talk about certain theories over here. I'll just talk about certain theories, but you will do your own part. You will do your own study. You will do your own exploring of this topic, so that you can have the broader level understanding. Because as you are a mature level student now, so a mature level of study is also expected from people of this standard, you see. So the first theory we are going to have a little bit light shed upon is evolutionary theory. According to evolutionary theory of emotion, our emotion exists because they serve an adaptive role. You see, adaptive role. What do you mean by adaptation? Is that we get ourselves acclimatized or changed according to the environment. You must have, um, and this understanding that there are people who can easily adjust in new environments. There are certain people who cannot adjust in new environments. There are certain people who can adjust in cold weather, hot weather, or these are two climate conditions I've actually talked about. But in whichever situation that person is, actually that person very easily get himself or herself acclimatized or get adjusted in that new environment that person is actually have gotten in. So that evolutionary theory now talks about this, that our emotions exist because they serve an adaptive role. Emotions motivate people to respond quickly to stimuli in the environment, which helps improve the chances of success and rough survival. So when you're being adaptive, you are just getting yourself uh, either get yourself expanded as per the survival situation, or get yourself comfortable and cooled as per the survival situation. The best example is that when you enter into the military bases, then if you are somebody who lives in Karachi, then inside the military bases you would be very satisfied that there is no street crime activity which is going to take place. So your mind is going to be set free of that tension that there might be a street robber, or might there be a guy on the bike who can actually rob you, because now you are in the military state, you are in the military zone. So there are going to be strict rules and regulations. So there is -1% likelihood in your mind, inside your mind, that there can be street crime activity taking place. So you are going to get in peace. But likewise, if you get into the state of war, for example, you get to know that the area where you are certainly the area where you have certainly entered is a red zone for that time being. So there is an immediate response which the mind is going to get to have. Your mind is going to get into an emergency state. You will be worried. You will start noticing everybody around. You will start noticing every moment which is taking place all around, because now your mind is actually in the state of survival, because you are now ready for any possible thing which might can occur, and you are ready for any possible response, which should come for that survival to actually take place properly. So this is being adaptive. You are adapting yourself. You are being adapting yourself in the environment you are living in the situation you have gone into, in the situation you are posed with. So this is the evolutionary theory of emotion. So I mean, uh, like we in fact earlier had discussed that there are various reasons why we respond and react in a certain situation. So this was the theory of evolution. The second theory, which we're going to have a little talk about, is the James Lange theory. Is one of the best known examples of a physiological theory of emotion. Suggests that seeing an external stimuli leads to a physiological reaction. You were walking in the jungle and you suddenly saw a lion. You suddenly saw a bear. You know, these situations can bring very traumatic situation in your mind. You might get, you know, in very panic state. You will be scared. You will be, your mind is going to get seized because you have certainly seen which you were not expecting to see. We have seen an animal which might can cut you down into pieces. So the James Lange theory is one of the best known examples of physiological theory of emotion. Suggests that seeing an external stimuli leads to a physiological reaction. Or maybe there was an actor or actress which you were in love with, and you suddenly, while walking in the mall or while walking in the market, you suddenly notice that the same celebrity, and I mean, you were in love with, you saw that celebrity all around. So imagine immediately what kind of change you will notice if you will get to see a celebrity, inside a mall, and in that mall, if you get to see anybody, any celebrity of yours, then how exactly you might react. So this is one. I'm just trying to create an example in which, I mean, because of this watching to that watching that celebrity, there is going to be stimulus which was going to trigger certain type of emotions, which are going to be obviously emotions of affections and love. So the James Lange theory is one of the best known examples of physiological theory of emotion, such as that seeing an external stimuli, like we discussed, watching a bear, or watching a lion, watching a celebrity, is triggering any certain type of emotions. Cannon and Bart's theory suggests that the physical and psychological experiences of emotion happen at the same time, and that one does not cause the other. This is another theory which exists, which is there for you guys to explore and study. It says that the physical state and the psychological states, physical experiences and psychological experiences of emotion happen at the same time, and that one does not cause the other. That every psychological action and physical action, they have their respective reasons. They are not the cause of triggering any each other. Psychological reaction will not cause a physical emotion. I mean, yeah, but it's not going to be the reason of anything changing physically, or physical change, but is physical stuff is not going to be reason of psychological changes. As we have just studied in this, Cannon and Bard's theory suggests that physical and psychological experiences of emotion happen at the same time, and that one does not cause the other. I mean, physical experience will not trigger the psychological experience. Likewise, psychological experience is not going to trigger the physical experience. So, as per this theory, these two things are basically two different things altogether. So, one is not causing other, and the second one, other, is not causing the first one. So, both things take place in parallel. Takes place simultaneously, but one is not the reason of the occurrence of other. The other, the both of these theories, both of these things take place in their respective manner, as in that certain situation. So the third theory is Cannon and Bart's theory. Cannon and Bart's theory suggests that the physical and psychological experience of emotion happen at the same time, and then burden. No, we just studied it already. So in fact, the next one is Shaster's Singer theory suggests that, this is a tricky word. Shaster theory suggests that physiological arousal occurs first, and then the individual must identify the reason to label it as an emotion. So this theory suggests that that something takes place physically, and then because of that physical thing which has taken place, you should find out that what is the reason why that physical state has taken place, and then accordingly you can park that emotion in the respective category. So Shakespeare theory, for physiological arousal. For example, you were walking in the mall, and two states happen. First of all, you get to see your teacher, who is very very intimidating, who scares you off, who scares you, who in fact intimidates you a lot, who is very very pushy, who pushes you for stuff, who does not let you do anything. So because of that, every time you get to see that teacher, you get to have that discipline thing coming in your mind, and you get that attack of panic, because you now know that the disciplined instructing teacher is now there in the mall, and you were trying to have a good time, and now you have seen a teacher who is very very strict. So now you might can expect a certain type of reaction, and because of watching that teacher while you were having fun with your childhood buddies, you certainly will start getting sweat in your palms, your forehead starts sweating. So that state, to that sweat, you actually can attribute this sweat to the reason of anxiety. This is an attack of anxiety which takes place, because now you expect another instruction coming to you while you're there with your own friends only having some fun, but the teacher with the strict attitude is there now. So another reason why. So now the second situation is that you certainly, again, the celebrity example I would like to quote, that you see you were in love with a celebrity, and you certainly, while walking in the mall, you saw that celebrity coming in. So while looking at that celebrity, you start having your palms sweaty and your forehead sweaty. So again, the same thing is taking place physically. Earlier when you saw the strict teacher, again, you had sweaty palms and sweaty forehead, and even this state when you are in love with some celebrity, again sweaty palms and sweaty forehead. But this time this thing is taking place because of a different reason. This thing is taking place is because of extreme love, extreme affection, extreme feeling of well, you know of love for that celebrity which you have in your mind. So that triggers you, and that triggers that sweaty palms and stuff. So again, so this thing again, now earlier these sweaty palms and sweaty forehead was parked in this caption of being in the state of anxiety. And in the second situation, while having the same situation taking place, in this occurrence you're going to park it in the caption of being an extreme love, or extreme affection. So the same physical state, but two different reasons why those two things were. The though that reaction actually has taken place. So the next theory is cognitive appraisal theory. So cognitive appraisal theory, again, whenever the word cognitive comes in front of you in the exam or anywhere, then you must think about logic. You are going to have some real good logic for anything to take place. So, cognitive appraisal theory says that according to this theory, the sequence of events first involves a stimulus, followed by a thought, which then leads to the simultaneous experience of a physiological response and the emotion. According to cognitive appraisal theory, the sequence of events first involves a stimulus, followed by a thought, which then leads to the simultaneous experience of physiological response and emotion. For example, if you encounter a bear in the woods, you might immediately begin to think that you are in the great danger, as we discussed this example earlier as well. This then leads to the emotional experience of fear and physical reactions associated. So, the cognitive appraisal theory we have just discussed with an example that there is a logic why things are taking place, and there is a sound, actual logic, which is being the reason why anything is taking place. So, this is another theory. The facial feedback theory says that Facial feedback theory of emotions suggests that facial expressions are connected to experiencing emotion. For example, you were there with a friend and you were cutting a joke, and after cutting the joke, you were expecting a laughter from your friend, but instead of that laughter, your friend keeps the face plain. So that plain face is immediately going to take you into the state of halt, or in the state of getting angry, that you are being ignored, or you are not being given proper reception by your friend. So this facial expression theory says a lot. I mean, from the facial expressions, you understand the moods of your counterpart, of the other person you are actually being associated with at that time, and because of those facial expressions, you will get certain emotions triggered, and I mean, that facial expression is at that time playing part in the triggering of that certain type of emotion. So now with this, we understand that there are theories which are there for the emotions. So we have studied the three broader legs of the studies, and we have also studied certain theories over here. And you are once again invited to do explore this topic. Now, the next basically important area, which we have already studied, I mean, discussed earlier. I mean, this is very you can see a subtopic of the main topic which we have been discussing since beginning. Functions of emotions. Emotions are always the reasons why we act in a certain manner. Emotions are source of information. When we say that, I mean, many time having this fear of losing with somebody in a quiz competition, you will always like to study more, learn more, while I mean, if you are uh, if you are working in an organization, so that emotion of not getting humiliated, that is going to trigger you to study more, learn more. So this is source of information. Many times you will, from like we discussed that facial feedback theory, from the expressions of face, you will get to learn new information. You always will have this new information. The emotions prepare us for actions. Many times the sad emotions prepare us, gear up, I mean, kick us up for another type of action. For example, there was certain state of panic, there was certain state of emotional state which took place because of certain action from your friend which you were not expecting. So that is going to drive you towards another type of action. So prepare us for action, help us in communication with others. Many times we are going to look at some face and we are going to like that face, and because of liking that face, we might get our heartbeat raised up, or we also might feel like talking to that somebody, because we might find the face very very nice and would like to talk to that person. So that also can make us talk to somebody. That regulates social behavior. The function of emotions, the way people behave in society in general, that becomes the overall behavior of society, regulate the social behavior. If there are like overall people uneducated living in a society, so there is, I mean, their values and their way of dealing with this situation is going to be different. They will react differently, and people from educated societies, they will reflect, I mean, react differently. I mean, the best example is then when things takes place, when electricity shortfall takes place in areas where there is less education, or people who have less control over their emotions, so they might create havoc. But people who have good emotional control, so their response, their behavior is going to be different. They might send emails to the government, to ministries, and they will protest through newspaper, and their response and their responding to situation is going to be different from those uneducated people. So bring positive or negative changes in individuals life, their emotions. Because of that, a certain emotion, when we are in love with someone, we are certainly going to get changed. Like people say that if you want to bring improvement in someone's life, ask him to get married or ask her to get married. So that way, uh, that emotion, I mean, when you tie up in certain knot, when you tie a knot with somebody, then now there is this feeling of responsibility, that emotion of responsibility. Now I mean, this tying knot with somebody is going to trigger different type of emotions. So that will bring positive change in you. Or many time when you would like to bring improvement in your life, but you are not getting successful in that, so because of that, negative things take place. So overall, where people can dive into taboo things, people can